Hey, welcome back to another episode of Ash building his surfboard. So today I'm gonna glass the board. But before I do that, I need to change from the shaping stand to the glassing stand. So I thought I'd do some magic and make that happen now. Okay, in with the glassing stand. But this is gonna drip resin all over. So I need to add something to it to make it better. Okay, now I'm all ready. Got a drip tray now. It's perfect for glassing. I need to cut the glass in half because it's 1.20 meters wide and I only need 60. That was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I put a tape line down the center to try to keep the weave from falling apart. There's going to be a lot of waste of carbon when I do the layup, but that's just how it is with surfboard shapes. The crazy waste of glass, in this case carbon. So I guess that's why the carbon boards cost so much, because it's a lot of waste of carbon. You can't use the offcuts for much else than fins. And yeah, so I'm gonna go back to having the board on the rack and glassing. Oh, typical Swedish day outside. It was 11 degrees this morning. Now the sun's out. It's gone up to 17. I really hope it's going to be warm enough for this process. From here on, I'm just going to do time lapse. So you see what I'm doing. I hope you enjoy it and follow along. Don't forget to subscribe, because that's apparently what helps YouTube channels grow. And give us a thumbs up and do a comment if you want. I'll try to read them. I haven't got that many yet, so yeah, let's go. Okay, I'm back. I don't know when the battery ran out, but that was a lot more difficult than I'm doing normal glass fiber. But it's all wet out. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with that. You notice that I painted underneath first, and that's because I wanted that resin to go off. So when I folded carbon underneath, it was sticky already to stick the carbon up, and that worked really well. I learned that from this board, that I had a lot of trouble getting the carbon to wrap and stick. That went good for me. The pigment didn't work out so good, but I'm gonna add pigment to the filler coat as well, so that'll be fine. All right, until another day. I'm back out here to do the other side. I want a chemical bond with the lamination, top and bottom. So I've just stuck some plastic underneath on the rack so that when I turn it over, apparently plastic doesn't stick to epoxy very well, so I should be able to peel that straight off. Peel ply as well, just because I don't want to fuck it up too much. Okay, I guess you've noticed that I'm not wrapping the top layer around the rail. I seem to think that carbon's that strong that you don't need to wrap both layers around the rail, and that's just how I'm going to do it with this board. I'm not 100% sure whether it's going to be the strongest. Obviously it's going to be a little bit stronger than wrapping it around twice, but that's the way I'm going to do it. Alright, I'm done laminating the top. It's a little bit rough around the edges, but that's alright. I'm going to sand it off before, and I have to give the whole board a light sand before I filler coat anyhow. So the bond between the filler coat and the laminating gets a good bond. You see that I didn't take the lap all the way around the rail, and because it's carbon I don't think I need to. I want it to be as light as possible, so that time to wet out that without the pigment, 300 grams of resin, whereas last time it took, the bottom side took a little bit more because I had the lap to go around. So the bottom side took 450 to wet out. So this is, I think it should be a lot lighter this way. I'm really happy with it. Now how this one turns out, the shape, I don't know until I ride it, but I really like the look of it. It's got a little bit of a wide nose. I knew that from the beginning, and I didn't want to change the plan shape, the outline so much, but the rails are really nice. They're a little bit chunky up the front here. I could have toned them down just a little bit more for a 6'1" and 80 kilos, 83 kilos. I think it's going to go good. It's not cost me that much money either, or 4,000 Swedish crowns. I need a Lego plug. That I have to get. Emergency calls, my son just cut his finger. The resins, I've just opened a new resin, and it's nice and runny. Hey, so I'm back out here again. Taking the tape off this morning before I went to work. The blue turned out really awesome colour. Really like it. Laid out the tape already, turn it over. And then I'll just mix up resin and paint it on like normal. I'm going to use white pigment on the bottom. Yeah, I'm going to paint the bottom white. It's still super light, so I think it's going to be really good. Alright, it's time lapse line. happy. It's filler coated. Pigment turns out much better when you do it as a filler coat, not as a laminator. The blue is such a better color than the white. It's like, it's really beautiful blue. Hopefully this doesn't pearl on me, which would suck. I put a little bit of thickener. You saw me, I split the cups into two, so I don't lose so much off the edges, and it stays up on the rail and it doesn't all soak into the concave. On the previous board that I built, the resin seemed to just run off the rail and go into the concave, and I had to sand the concave out really hard, so that's why I added the thickener. Like I said at the start of the film, or start of this time lapse, I'm not a very good glasser, so this is all experimental for me. Every time I do a board, I've done like maybe 20 boards now, and this is probably the best one I've done. Even though the glassing wasn't so good, it's still super lightweight and it's the right dimensions for me. Over my time of actually making my own surfboards, I think my surfing has not progressed as it should have, because I was riding my own boards. I think if I was on better boards, I would have done a lot better surfing. I really like to make boards and make my own boards and ride them. So when I step on a high quality surfboard, I really feel the difference. And that's what I want with this board, you know. I want to feel what I feel out of a high quality surfboard that I've actually made. So we'll just see how it rides. It's epoxy, so I'm not used to riding epoxy. I grew up in a time when, you know, it was all PU only. Yeah, I don't know whether I like it or not. I'll see. Alright, that's it. I ripped the tape off in the morning because it's going back down to single figures in the temperature tonight, so this won't actually go off. And then I'll have to peel the tape in the morning, and then in the afternoon it should be fully set up. I have to put it on the scale, but I used about 1.5 kilos of laminating resin, under 2 kilos of resin, which is pretty good, I'd say, for a shortboard. It kind of feels a little bit heavy. It hasn't been sanded yet, but no, it doesn't feel heavy at all. It feels pretty nice. Thanks for watching.